Hello and welcome. My name's Katie. I'm Katie Style and I'm based in Kent. I am one of your resident stylists. Today I want to talk to you a bit about style and what a style consultation is all about. I'm actually going to turn this into two separate videos for you. So we'll start today with what we know as body shapes. Tell you a bit about the 7 different body shapes and a few tips on how to dress those. Next week I'll cover the second half, which is style personality. Style personality arguably brings everything together. So once you've had your colours done, you understand your body shape, it helps sort of the icing on the cake for you to understand why maybe a light, cool, clear hourglass can look different to another light, cool, clear hourglass, and why they make different choices and shop in different shops. So let's get started. I want to run you through the 7 different types that I have, and I'm going to use this as we go through. This is a style guide that you get in a style consultation. I'll tell you a bit about the different ones. So listen out and have a think about what you think you might be, and you can always pop those in the comments below if you fancy it. So the first one I want to talk to you about is the neat hourglass. Actually, this is a really great time to tell you a bit about how we perceive the human figure. It's a natural instinct for us to look at the female form and compare it to the Coca-Cola glass, if you like, that hourglass figure. So we come out at the bust, we go in at the waist, and we go out the hips. Obviously, we're not all built like that, but instinctively, that is what we see as pleasing to the eye. So the neat hourglass is pretty much that. We have shoulders in line with hips. So stand in front of the mirror, either in your skinny gym gear, maybe in your underwear by yourself, and have a look. Are your shoulders the same distance as your hips? Are they in line? And do come in a little bit at the waist. When you stand to the side, have you got a little bit of a bust and a little bit of a bottom? If that's you, you're a neat hourglass. You can wear fabrics that are lightweight. You can wear fabrics that follow your curves, so slightly lightweight fabrics. And you're pretty lucky, you can get away with quite a lot as a neat hourglass. Maybe if I give you the top tip for dresses, everyone looks great in a wrap dress, but you look good in bodycon and shift dresses. There's so much more to learn, understanding the best fabrics, the best weight of fabric, the best cuts for yourself, and so on. Next up we have the other thing I can give you as a tip if you're a neat hourglass is you can take a little bit of puff and frou-frou on the shoulder and a little bit of shape on the hip, because it will help bring you out and define your waist a little bit more. Next up, are you a full hourglass? What is it to be a full hourglass? To be a full hourglass, you're similar in the sense that you both have the same distance in your shoulders and your hips apart. You'll have more definition in the waist, so you might come out a bit more and you might come in a bit more at the waist. You have a good sized bust and you have a good sized bottom. Think of Nigella, the chef. You're not going to want to put the extra frou-frou on the shoulder or on the hip area because you already come out enough. You don't want to accentuate yourself anymore. You're perfect as you are. You want to show off that waist and highlight it. So things that stop at the waist. Tuck your t-shirt into a high-waisted pair of trousers if that fits on you, and really draw that eye in. Belts are a good one too. Going to dresses, again, wrap dresses are good for most people, depending on the fabric. You can wear, I've lost myself. The waist dresses with waist definition, as I was saying, bodycon and tea dresses are a good one for you. Next up, we've got our pairs. So many of us all know different terminology for different body shapes. It depends where your stylist has trained, but I think most people have heard of an hourglass and a pair. A pair is someone who has got great curves. They are narrower on the shoulders and they were wider on the hips. So when you're looking in the mirror, you can really see you're narrow on the shoulder, you're wider on the hips. You're still curvy as well. You have a definition to your waist. Your key styling tip from me is make sure you don't wear pattern on the bottom half, you're wearing your pattern on the top half. What's going to happen is we're going to draw the eye up and balance you out by creating interest on the top half, but almost hiding the bottom half. You don't think of it as hiding it, just accentuating the top half. So a plain coloured trouser, maybe a slightly darker coloured trouser with the pattern tops, really going to help balance your shape out. You're great in an empire line dress, and fluid styles work really well on you. Do you think you're a pair? We've got a few more fruits coming up. Have you heard of the strawberry? You're a strawberry if your shoulders are wider than your hips. So we are opposite to the pears now. You wear bigger sizes on the top to the bottom. So if you go back through so far, the hourglass, the neat hourglass can have the same size clothing, so 10s, 12s on the tops and the same on the bottom. But with a pear, typically they're going to have a larger size on the bottom and a smaller size on the top. With a strawberry, you wear a bigger size on the top and more likely a smaller size on the bottom. You're curvaceous on the top half. You have a curvy bust. You have straight rib cage and neat hips, but you might have a little bit of a curve on your tummy. So you're going to do the opposite. You're going to put more detail on the bottom half. You might want to wear a wide leg trouser or a trouser with a print on it. And in that top half, you're going to go for something a little more plain and simple. You're going to look good in an empire line dress because it's going to be sort of all tight on the top round here and then it's going to float down, giving you a bit of volume on the bottom half. Skater style dresses are really good too. Anything that adds a detail on the hip as well to give you a bit of curve. So anything with a peplum that sticks out is going to look good on you too. Next up, the rectangles. So far we've had women who have got curves and can wear fluid, soft, flowy fabrics. Moving on to a rectangle. You have, similar to the first two, your shoulders are in line with your hips, but you don't have as much waist definition. If you take a selfie in the mirror and you put your finger around yourself and create a rectangle from the shoulders through to the hip area, and there's not a lot of curves within that shape, you are most likely a rectangle. You have a small to average size bust. You have really neat hips and a neat bottom. Maybe you think you've got no bottom. And dress wise, think about fabrics being a bit stiffer. If a fabric is stiffer, it's got more shape to it. So utility style jumpsuits would be quite good on you, but also dresses with hip details. So you want to try and add a bit of curves in. Maybe a little bit of a shoulder pad would help bring you out the shoulders to give the illusion that you come in the middle. Next up, we have our apples. Have you heard of an apple? Apples and strawberries have got similarities, but they also have some key differences as well. So do you have a rounded shoulder line? When I stand here today, you can see I do come across and I come down. Do you cut off and come round? Are you softer on the shoulders? Do you have quite a bit of fullness around the middle area? Are you someone who thinks you have great legs or have had great legs in the past? This is one of those key questions. If you say yes, it's quite possible you're an apple. And then you also have a flattish bottom as well, so it's almost like you have no bottom. You will look great in items that create thirds in your body. So imagine something stops here, you have detail all the way through to your knees, and then the detail stops. Break your body into thirds. You want to be wearing dresses like an A-line or trapeze dress. What's the other things I can offer you here? Clothes that hang from the shoulders. So if you had a dress on in one colour and then you had a long cardigan on and you've created that panel illusion in the middle, that's going to look great on you. You're also good in your floaty soft fabrics. You can add a little bit more stiffness to a trouser to bring you out. You're similar to the strawberry in that sense that you've got more going on top and you can create more space on the bottom. Next up, and should I say last but not least, we have our athletics. You might know these as inverted triangles. Athletics tend to have broad, straight shoulders and they have very narrow hips. They're straight in the figure, they don't really have curves, and they look great in halter neck tops. They've got a really beautiful structured shoulder line. Sometimes as an athletic, they are people who work out, so they have great toned arms as well. They're going to look good again with pattern on the lower half because they have all their shape and definition on the top. So if they're coming like this on the top, naturally we add a pair of wide leg trousers on the bottom. You can see how we've created a point in the middle to give them a defined waist. Dresses for them, halter neck dresses always, peplum as well to give them a hip would look great on them. Imagine a dress where the colour is quite simple on the top, but then it has sort of a floating pattern coming up. That would look great on you. Now these ladies are similar to the strawberries and the apples and the pears. They're going to have possibly a bigger size on top, and they're going to struggle maybe with bras and dresses in particular, because the top half is broad and then they're too small on the bottom. In this case, maybe consider buying a matching top and bottom set, because if you buy a skirt in the same colour as the top, you're going to create the illusion that you're wearing a dress. Let's say denim, for example, a denim shirt and a denim skirt in the same colourway. Then you can buy that smaller size skirt, the larger size shirt that fits well, and you've created the illusion that you're wearing a dress. So that's all our body shapes. Do you think you know what you are? Drop me a comment below. If you need any help, please reach out. We can do this on a Zoom or one-to-one basis to help you understand more, because once you know your body shape, as I said, you can understand the fabrics, the cuts, how to wear the clothes. Should you tuck it in? Should you tuck it out? The other thing to remember is that there might be 7 body shapes, but there are actually so many more body shapes than that. That is because when you look at scale and proportion, which are all things we go through in here, you can have 2 very different pairs, for example. You can have a tall pair, you can have a short pair, you can have a larger pair, you can have a slimmer pair. You can have a pair with a high waist or a low waist, a high rise or a low rise. So understanding your scale and proportion is really key to when we're picking things like what size handbag looks best on you, what size print is good on you. Are you better in a ditzy small print, or are you better in a large print? I hope you found this interesting. If you want any more information, head over to the Yummy Mummy Style Hub, or have a look at www.katiestyle.uk, where often putting up blogs which explain a bit more about this. I hope this has been helpful, and I look forward to hearing your questions, and I'll see you next week for Style Personality. Bye for now.